Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Halftime Roomies. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about Elgin Baylor. So most of us would have already seen The Last Dance, but before Michael Jordan, there was Elgin Baylor. The two players had a lot of similarities in terms of the number of points they got and just the sheer swag with which they got them. And they also took almost dying clubs and then revived them and took them to the promised land. But the difference between Michael Jordan and Elgin Baylor is that Elgin Baylor has gone to finals 9 times and has never won a single NBA championship. So if we take it back to the beginning, Elgin Baylor was always a prodigy. His senior year with Phelps High School, he averaged 36.1 points per game and he was just dominating teams. Which is even more impressive because Elgin Baylor only started playing basketball since he was 14 years old. In his first university season, Baylor averaged 31.3 points per game and 18.9 rebounds. And he switched colleges and he moved to Seattle University and averaged a ridiculous 29.7 points per game and 20.3 rebounds. The following season, he led the Seattle University to the NCAA Finals, where they lost to the Kentucky Wildcats, despite a dominant season once again. And at the end of his junior season, Minneapolis Lakers would draft him in the first 1958 NBA draft. Baylor arrived at this team, which is a shadow of its former self. The era of George Mikan is long gone, and the Lakers had just finished a miserable season with 53 losses and only 19 wins. But now all eyes are on Baylor, the prodigy, and he delivers big time. So he leads the Lakers to the NBA Finals, but falling to a clean sweep by Bill Russell's Celtics, igniting the flames for one of the greatest rivalries in NBA history.
The first loss that they had as the Minneapolis Lakers is actually also kind of ignited the flames of one of the greatest dynasties in the history of basketball. Because what would happen is Baylor would have another great season the following season. He would have 29.6 points per game and 16.4 rebounds for the season average. But Minneapolis as a city was probably not where the Lakers were destined to be. They were destined to be in a big city. They were destined to be in a bigger city. So they rejected moves to Chicago and San Francisco. At the end of 1960, actually, they moved to Los Angeles. They're performing the now known Los Angeles Lakers.
Leaving defenders grasping for air, Elgin set a single-game NBA scoring record when he scored 71 points against the Knicks. And he quickly transformed the last-place Lakers into perennial title contenders.
This is the magnet that draws the fans into the new Los Angeles sports arena, now that big league professional basketball has reached the West Coast. Elgin Baylor, regarded by many as the best basketeer in the world.
And then what they did was they drafted this some bum called Jerry West. The guy who's on the logo of NBA.
Yeah, that dude.
That dude. And Baylor actually started, and Baylor his numbers jumped up, right? So now he's averaging 34.8 points per game for the season. Again, they go to the playoffs, but they lose in the divisionals to St. Louis Hawks, 4-3. And, I think that just gave birth to a lot of disappointments. They would go on to lose 7 finals with Baylor. And Baylor would lose 8 finals in total. So as Minneapolis, they lost in 59. As the Lakers, they would lose in 62, 63, 65, 66, 68, 69, and 70. And 7 of the 8 finals losses were to the legendary Boston Celtics team, which had players like John Havlicek, Bill Russell, and were coached by Red Auerbach, possibly the greatest coach of all time. What the Lakers would do is they would go and add another bum called Will Chamberlain. The guy who scored 100 points in one game.
Yeah, that dude again.
Yeah. So I mean, they would dominate, but they missed a couple of chances, had a few injuries, wouldn't win a ring. And that really begs the question: what happened? Why could this monster of a team that had legends in Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Will Chamberlain not win a championship in 8 trips to the finals, right? And the Boston Celtics happened. Red Auerbach's defense was impenetrable. They were putting up consistent games. I mean, even though West and Russell were putting up games, 40-point games consistently, the defense was not up to par. The Celtics defense and the Celtics offense was a beast. There were beasts both in the front court and back court. Injuries in the 60s would hamper Baylor's career. He would have a lot of knee injuries and just kept pestering him, slowed him down. He couldn't jump as much, and Baylor wasn't the biggest guy on the court as well. He was just 6'5". But as a guy who was 6'5", as a forward back in the day, when you had guys like Jabbar and Chamberlain dominating the court, he was one of the best to have done it back then. They did have actually one chance to win it, and this was probably the chance where everyone thought Baylor would win it. At 35 years old, they faced him as a 35-year-old. He went to the finals for the last time, and they would face the New York Knickerbockers, the same team who beat the Huskies.
Yes, this is a nice throwback to the last episode that we did.
So for our audience who does not know who the Huskies are, the link is at the top, and you can check us out. Check the Huskies video out as well.
And the true fans will already know.
Yeah, the true fans, the true North.
The true North.
And again, man, they were favorites to win. They went to 7 games and they lost again. And the guy that put them down was Walt Frazier. He had a beast of a game, game 7. He had 36 points with 7 rebounds and 19 assists. And Knicks took that title. That was the first title in the history of Knicks. The Knicks would win their second and last title so far in 73. But yeah, they took down a 35-year-old Baylor with Chamberlain and West in their prime as well. In 1971, so you know what I mean. So this leads to Baylor kind of reconsidering his career, and at that point he's 36 years old. It's 1971. He would barely play any games. Comes back for 1972 season, plays 9 games and retires. He just retires at the beginning of the season.
And you kind of have to feel for the guy, right? He's gone to these 8 finals, he's lost. Even in the finals with Seattle University again, he lost. At this point, I feel like you really have to feel for Elgin Baylor. Because he's gone to 8 finals, he's lost. He had that first one even at Seattle University. And he lost that as well. So pretty much throughout his entire career, he's always gone right to the end. And it's always fallen short, and then you kind of feel like, is it you?
Yeah.
Is this a Baylor curse?
I mean, even as a basketball fan who's not a fan of the Lakers, it's just heartbreaking to just look back at the stats and see that this guy lost 8 finals. And it's not just some bum chum from the streets who couldn't just win. It's Elgin Baylor, one of the greatest forwards of all time. And it's even more heartbreaking when you take into consideration that he retired in 1972 at 37 years old. The Lakers would actually string a 33-game consecutive winning streak that season. They finished with 69 wins and 39 losses that season. Went on to win the championship against the Knicks.
Without Baylor.
Because
he's just retired now.
Because he retired at the beginning of the season.
And at that point, it really does prompt the question, was this a curse then? Or so some people might ask, and even when we were initially researching this episode, my question to you was do you think he was a choker?
I would say no. And this is why I would say no. Because if had he been a choker as the leader of the team, as the best player in his team, he would not have been putting up consistent numbers. He was consistently putting up 30 points per game, 10 boards, 10 assists, numerous other plays that he did. So he was delivering what he absolutely had to do.
Even in the finals.
The Lakers not winning in the 60s is not because of the Lakers' mediocrity. It's because of the Celtics' dominance, the Celtics' superiority. You just could not beat Bill Russell and Red Auerbach back then. And I mean, it really puts it into perspective that the 72 season, when they did win, they finished with a record of 69 and 13. There's only 2 teams in the history of basketball that have had a better season than that Lakers team. It's the Jordan's Bulls in '96 who finished with 70 and 12, and Steph Curry's Warriors who finished with 72 and 10.
Oh, that's amazing.
And Curry didn't even win a championship that season. LeBron did, which is again another throwback that we should consider doing.
Yeah, and I think there really are these like kind of parallels between Jordan and Baylor.
Yeah.
But I find like Jordan went on to achieve so much. Like he really had the championships to like
Yeah.
kind of back it up, right? But Baylor kind of is left with nothing almost.
You know what Baylor actually, you know what another guy Baylor reminds me of is LeBron James. So Baylor has the most finals defeats. Yeah, he's 0-8. Jerry West is 1-8. So he's been to 9 finals, but he won the 72 championship. So he almost missed out on that that mark, right?
Yeah.
But the guy who's third on the list is actually LeBron James. He's lost 6 finals. He's won 3. He's lost 6. So Baylor actually reminds me a lot of LeBron James, because LeBron James himself, I mean, this guy gives his all. He's put up monster numbers in the finals. He's literally carried his team across playoffs and the whole season, and it's just
The team
The- the-
almost
the- yeah, the-
falling short.
the
at that
mediocrity
point.
of the team has kept him from winning probably a couple more titles that he should have had or could have had under his belt.
So Baylor's number 22 was retired by the Lakers and his university team, the Seattle Redhawks, as well. He was elected to the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame in 1977. And in 2009, Slam magazine ranked him 11 in its top 50 players of all time. So Baylor's legacy is basically that he's by majority consensus ranked as the greatest player to never win a single ring. And I think one thing that really speaks testament to Baylor's legacy in NBA is that in 1971 there was an interview with the Lakers owner Bob Short, and he summed it up perfectly by saying that Baylor's impact was such that if he had turned me down back then, I would have been out of business and the club would have gone bankrupt.
That says a lot, man. That I mean, to give one player that much credit, that really says a lot.
Yeah, and it's again, it's those things where it's like you've come in, you've taken a team that's again, it's a shadow of its former self.
Yeah.
You've really not just revived them, you've really brought them into the
Yeah.
prominence that the Lakers,
Yeah.
even today, even though despite like they haven't won of late, but it's just like the sheer like dominance that Lakers have had
Yeah.
and that prominence that they've had in the league as well. I think it really comes down to that one moment in history
Yeah.
where they decided to have Baylor play for them, and then he just took them to all of these finals. So even though it's a little black mark on his own history and it's his reputation,
Yeah.
you cannot deny the fact that Elgin Baylor was one of the greatest.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it seems like he probably had to, like the Lakers probably sacrificed Baylor's short-term legacy in lieu of the long-term success that they've enjoyed in the last 40 years since. And it's disappointing, but you know what? Baylor will be remembered as one of the greatest to have ever played the game. Arguably, the top 3 Laker of all time, right with Kobe and Magic.
So that's about it for this episode. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Elgin Baylor was one of the greatest of all time? Does he not deserve the plaudits because he never won anything? Do you think he's a loser? And if you do think he's a loser, does it take a loser to know a loser? So think about yourself over there. We're just joking. We love our fans.
Yeah, we do.
So that's about it for this episode. We'll see you on the other side.
Cheerio.
Toodles, guys.
और छोटू बंद कर दो